Hello and welcome to History of the Day series of Triumph IAS.
Let's start from the important birth anniversaries of 10th March. Professor Udupi Ramchandra Rao. Professor U.R. Rao was an internationally renowned space scientist who had made original contributions to the development of space technology in India and its extensive application to communications and remote sensing of natural resources. He was the chairman of the Governing Council of the Physical Research Laboratory at Ahmedabad and the chancellor of the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology at Thiruvananthapuram. After working as a faculty member at MIT and assistant professor at University of Texas at Dallas, where he carried out investigations as a prime experimenter on a number of Pioneer and Explorer spacecrafts, Professor Rao returned to India in 1966 as professor at the Physical Research Laboratory, Ahmedabad. Convinced of the imperative need to use space technology for rapid development, Professor Rao undertook the responsibility for the establishment of satellite technology in India in 1972. Under his guidance, beginning with the first Indian satellite Aryabhatta in 1975, over 18 satellites were designed and launched for providing communication, remote sensing, and meteorological services. After taking charge as chairman, Space Commission, and secretary, Department of Space, in 1984, Professor Rao accelerated the development of rocket technology, resulting in the successful launch of ASLV rocket and the operational PSLV launch vehicle, which can launch 2.0-ton class of satellites into polar orbit. Professor Rao initiated the development of the geostationary launch vehicle GSLV and the development of cryogenic technology in 1991. Professor Rao has published over 350 scientific and technical papers covering cosmic rays, interplanetary physics, high-energy astronomy, space applications, and satellite and rocket technology, and authored many books. He is also the recipient of D.Sc. Hocosa degree from over 21 universities including University of Bologna, the oldest university in Europe. Professor Rao was awarded Padma Bhushan by the Government of India in 1976, which is the third highest civilian award, and Padma Vibhushan in 2017, which is the second highest civilian award. Professor U.R. Rao became the first Indian space scientist to be inducted into the highly prestigious Satellite Hall of Fame at Washington, D.C., USA on 19 March 2013. Professor U.R. Rao became the first Indian space scientist to be inducted into the highly prestigious IF Hall of Fame at Guadalajara, Mexico. Ranjit Lal Jetli, Indian soldier and scientist. Wartime career. Jetli was commissioned on 5 July 1942 and served in Arakan, Burma. He took part in the Battle of Ramri Island and the Allied landings at Letpin, mainland Burma, where, as Naval Forward Observation Officer for a field artillery regiment, he called in the naval bombardment. From 1945 to 1946 he served with an Indian anti-tank regiment in Sumatra, Indonesia as a part of the British occupation. In 1946, Jetli became a captain in the regular army and travelled to Britain for training at the Royal School of Artillery, Larkhill, along with Om Prakash Malhotra, later General Chief of Army Staff, and J.F.R. Jacob, later Lt. General, Governor Punjab. In 1948, he took part in the Jammu and Kashmir operations of the Indo-Pakistani War, involving the recapture of Jhangar, capture of Rajouri and the Punch link-up. Peacetime artillery service. From 1950, he served with the erstwhile technical development establishments at Jabalpur, Kosipure, and later Kanpur, and raised inspectorates for the two major ordnance factories. At Kanpur he was credited for contributing to the manufacture of the first 25-pounder ordnance and the first brain gun in India. The occasion was celebrated by the Ordnance Factory by firing of the first brain gun in the presence of Sri Dr. Rajendra Prasad, first President of India. In 1952, he commanded an anti-tank regiment artillery. From 1953 to 1958 he commanded one of the then only two medium artillery regiments and later raised the 3rd Medium Regiment Artillery. With this newly raised unit, he earned a name in exercise Doaba by taking his medium guns across the river Sutlej by dismantling, which was commended by the Corps Commander Lt. Gen. J.N. Chaudhary and Lt. Gen. Kulwant Singh, the Chief Umpire and General Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Western Command. It was here that he also conceived the idea of upgunning the Sherman tank for better firepower and put up a paper to the General Staff. This was to have a salutary effect on the outcome of the 1965 Indo-Pak War. Scientific career. During his second tenure, from 1958 onwards, with erstwhile TDEs and Defense Research and Development Organization, he had a distinguished career in various capacities. As Superintendent, Proof and Experiment Establishment, he conceived, planned and modernized the previous ranges to enable enhancement of indigenous production and evaluation of foreign manufacturers' claims. In addition to the normal call of duties, he had been personally responsible for projecting new ideas which led to the improvement in the performance of various service equipments. A few outstanding examples showing his ingenuity and skill were mounting of 75 mm high-velocity French gun on the Sherman tank, conversion of 4.7 naval gun mounting to take 4.5 naval gun, modification of 25 PDR carriage for high-angle fire, universal slave carriage mounting for proof of any caliber gun and ammunition, railway open wagon on broad-gauge rails. Manesh Pargaonkar, Marathi poet from Maharashtra, India. Manesh Keshav Pargaonkar was an iconic Marathi poet from Maharashtra, India. Pargaonkar was born on 10 March 1929 in Vengurla, Sindhudurg district in Maharashtra. He received a Master of Arts degree in Marathi and Sanskrit from the University of Bombay. He taught Marathi at Matushri Mithibai College in Mumbai for several years, and then during the 1970 to 1990 period served as an editor at the U.S. Information Service, USIS, both in Mumbai. He also worked as an assistant editor at the Sadhana Weekly for some time. In 1983 to 1984, he also penned University of Pune's theme song Punyamai De Amha Akshar Vardhan. It was Pula Deshpande who had asked Mr. Pargaonkar to write this song in one day. It was then composed by music director Bhaskar Chandavarkar. In 2012, he was also honored with Jeevan Sadhana Gaurav Puraskar by University of Pune for his contributions in the field of literature. He was president of the second Vishwa Marathi Sahitya Sammelan held in Dubai in 2010 and organized by the Akhil Bhartiya Marathi Sahitya Mahamandal. Mr. Pargaonkar received several awards, including the Sahitya Academy Award in 1980 for his collection of poems Salam, the MP Literary Conference Award in 1956, and the Maharashtra State Award in 1953 and 1955. In 2008, Mr. Pargaonkar was awarded with Maharashtra Bhushan Award. In 2013, he received Padma Bhushan Award. The death anniversaries of famous people. Savitribai Jyotirao Phule. During the 19th century, Savitribai Jyotirao Phule, a prominent Indian social reformer, educator, and author, played a crucial role in the education and empowerment of women. With her partner Jyotirao Phule, Savitribai is recognized as one of the few truly accomplished women of her era who founded the primary young women's school in Bidewada, Pune. She put in a great deal of effort in her efforts to educate and liberate child widows, fought against child marriage and sati pratha, and supported widow remarriage. She is recognized as a key character in the evolution of social reform in Maharashtra and is seen as a representation of Dalit Mang alongside the ideals of B.R. Ambedkar and Annabhau Sathe. She fought against distance and was successful in eliminating orientation and position-based separation. Savitribai was brought into the world on 3 January 1831, in accordance with the prevalent customs of the time. Savitribai, who was 9 years old, married Jyotirao Phule, who was 12 years old, in 1840. Jyotirao continued on his path to being a strategist, essayist, social fanatic, and opponent of established social reformers. He is regarded as one of the key players in Maharashtra's progress of social change. After her marriage, Savitribai began her formal education. Her better half taught her basic reading and writing after observing her enthusiasm for learning and teaching herself. She did third and fourth year assessments from a regular school and refocused her energy on teaching. Her contribution to the empowerment of women. When she was still in her adolescence, Jyotirao and Savitribai established the first natively administered school for young females in Pune, at that time, Pune. The calm-minded pair received refuge from a friend Usman Sheikh and his sister Fatima Sheikh, who also provided the Phule pair with space in their place to start school, despite the fact that they were divided by both family and neighborhood by this decision. Savitribai eventually became the school's main teacher. Later, Jyotirao and Savitribai started schools for the untouchable children from the Mang and Mahar stations. There were 3 active Phule schools in 1852. The British government recognized the Phule family on 16 November of that year for their efforts in the field of education, and Savitribai was chosen as the top teacher. She also started the Mahila Seva Mandal that year with the intention of raising awareness among women about their rights, nobility, and other social issues. She was fruitful in starting a hairdressers' strike in Mumbai and Pune to go against the act of shaving widows' heads. Savitribai opened 18 schools over time and taught children from many socio-economic backgrounds. Savitribai and Fatima Sheikh began exhibiting women and people from demoralized stations. While Jyotirao promoted widow remarriage, Savitribai tirelessly fought against societal injustices like Sati Pratha and Bal Vivah, 2 of the most sensitive social issues that were gradually degrading the actual presence of women. She also made an effort to educate, engage, and promote the remarriage of the young widows in order to bring them up to par. She also had ties to the Satyashodhak Samaj, a social reform organization founded by Jyotirao on 24 September 1873 in Pune. The Samaj's goal was to protect women, Shudra, Dalits, and other less fortunate people from abuse and exploitation. Its members comprised Muslims, non-Brahmins, Brahmins, and government officials. Without a minister or share, the couple organized the least expensive relationships in the Samaj. In these partnerships, the 2 ladies and grooms made commitments that added up to their marriage commitments. Savitribai served as the head of the group's female division, and after her spouse was killed on 28 November 1890, she took over as the Samaj's executive. Jyotiba and Savitribai had no children of their own. They had an adopted son Yashwant who opened a clinic to work for bubonic plague victims. Savitribai Phule died due to the same plague that affected her. She breathed her last on 10 March 1897. Now let's move towards the events of the day of 10 March. CISF Raising Day. The CISF Raising Day is celebrated on 10 March of every year. The CISF was established on 10 March 1969 after an act was passed in the Parliament of India. The CISF was set up with 3 battalions under the CISF Act. The Central Industrial Security Forces were established to protect the industrial installations in the country. The CISF was made an armed force by a different Act of Parliament, which was passed on 15 June 1983. CISF's duty includes providing better protection and guarding the sensitive installations of the government and other important facilities. Duties of Central Industrial Security Force provides security for more than 300 industrial units and government infrastructure projects all over the country. Atomic power plants, mines, oil fields and refineries, space installations, major ports, airports, and hydroelectric thermal power plants owned and controlled by Central Public Sector Undertakings, PSUs, and currency note presses producing Indian currency are protected by CISF. It also provides consultancy services to private industries and other organizations within the Indian government. Some battalions of CISF also work for the police force to maintain law and order. The fire wing of CISF helps during accidents in industries. Significance: CISF works to safeguard the seaways, airways and some other major installations in the country. The CISF is one of the important and unique establishments in the paramilitary forces of India. CISF currently provides coverage to over 300 installations which include airports, nuclear and space installations, and seaports among others. The CISF also provides security cover to the Delhi Metro.